at our map. 7 map pool, 6 maps down, 1 will be left. Let's put it up on the screen for you. Where will it be? And Scarz will get the final ban. They're going to remove Clubhouse in favor of Consulate. So, is this the right decision considering Guts' performance?
Definitely the right decision to ban out Clubhouse. I don't think there was a right map for them to go to be honest. Because the only 2 games they've won was the ones where Monty wasn't banned, and if Guts is adding that together, they're banning Monty, and then my Guts feeling is that they're gonna take the game as well. You're so proud of me.
This is the second dad joke. I'm not gonna make one now. I'm gonna try and remain calm and professional right here to make sure that Scarz doesn't get too many scars in this matchup. But Consulate, they're gonna try and go aggressive. I think that's the only way they can really go at it, and it really will rely on Tucanos whether or not he's going to be able to get these impacts in.
All right, let's see what people voted on this match. So bringing up our social votes, go check those out at R6 Esports APAC on. So, oh baby, Guts Gaming with 90%. As you see, the Japanese fans really showing up here for their team. Scarz, being the Korean squad, not having the best of luck in the picks overall, but this is merely what people think. The time is right. Let's kick it off to Consulate. It's Dev and Gio. All yours at game 1.
Thank you, Milosh. I always feel like when Milosh is speaking on the desk with that beautiful white background behind him, he's like some kind of deity just speaking to all the minions out there. And, well, I'm cool with that. I'm totally down with that. Let's jump in. It is Guts versus Scarz. Gio, it's the final play day. Are you as hyped as I am?
It's the final play day, and I'm wondering where the last 5 weeks of my life have gone. I feel like it was yesterday that we did the very first play day. But yeah, I'm super stoked. I think that these are 2 teams that have actually had really interesting stories this season so far. Guts, who were really the underdog of Japan, have shown themselves to be something worth fearing, whereas Scarz, who were the top spot in Korea, have fallen down so low. So the last chance for either of them to scrape some of those points, and that's certainly going to add to those global standing points that all of these teams need.
Yeah, well, if you look at the standings at the moment, I mean, we did this a bit in the pre-show, but Guts has actually had a much worse second phase here compared to the first. They're looking to redeem themselves. Currently sat at, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th place this phase, and while they can jump up a bit, but with already 2 losses, it's going to be a challenge. They really have to take down Scarz in convincing fashion here for us to get our confidence back in how Guts are as a team. But, I mean, look at that. The Montaigne ban actually does come through. Now, it's an operator we've talked about, Scarz utilization, quite a lot. Revi, who's their coach, subbing into the roster. He hasn't been the most impactful player on the team. He's really struggled, but that one game where he played Montaigne on this very map, Consulate, against Fnatic, Scarz won that, and it was really due to Revi's good use of that Montaigne.
Now, he did also make a lot of use out of Clash, but the Clash isn't going to be going. It's going to be the Valkyrie instead, which makes sense. You want to ensure that things like runouts aren't going to be able to be facilitated. You want to guarantee those cameras are off the board, and of course Echo joining there as well. But I agree. I think it could be pretty impactful, the fact that the Montaigne isn't available here. Scarz have been to this map, what, 3 times now? 4 times, sorry. No, 3 times. They've been hit 3 times, and that's what they were able to make work for them the most. Suddenly their crutch is gone.
But I will say, if we're looking at the context of this map for both of these teams, well, Guts and Scarz in their respective matches last Playday both lost this map. Guts over to Fav, who's the other Japanese team that's been performing really well. One of, I guess, there's a lot of good Japanese teams. And then Scarz lost out to Noarengo. Now, Noarengo hasn't been on top of their game this season, and Scarz still lost Consulate to that team. Bit of a concern coming into this game in my eyes. But let's jump in. It's downstairs. The basement first up is the first defensive bomb site for Scarz, and Guts bring a really well-rounded lineup to deal with it. Primarily that Thermite. Now, this might seem a little bit obvious to most viewers, but I feel like it warrants being said anyway. That Thermite pick, when you're coming into an attack on Constant, you kind of have to bring it out when you don't know what bomb site the defenders are coming to. That Thermite only really useful on this bottom floor objective, on Garage, not so much using it for the others. But JJ, he's so confident and comfortable on that operator that even if, let's say, Scarz were picking the top floor right now, JJ would still be able to make good use out of the flashbangs and the gun. So nice little simple stuff, but I like to see it.
I'm still going to have flashbacks to when they played against Fav on the last Playday on this map, and JJ on the Thermite decided to run straight into Yellow Stairs and just get caught in the crossfire by Afro, and suddenly they couldn't open up the garage wall. There was no real point of ingress there, and Guts really struggled to actually take this site. And of course, Scarz are going to have that VOD available to them to have learned from. So maybe that's something, not that exactly, but just knowing how Guts did play when they were up against Fav is something that will be of use to them. Looks like Guts are going to be coming for an admin side take instead, though, and potentially going to clear most of the map before they head down towards the site. And that's going to be 11 here on the pulse, who's going to be looking out for a lot of those players.
That Jackal ping coming through as well, and Canos decides on the back of that he'll go downstairs. Good usage of utility here for Yura, but time is ticking away. And it looks like the roamers from Scarz have decided to get back on the bomb site instead of contesting. Looks like Demic's actually still potentially upstairs, just on the first floor at the moment. Guts really focusing on this roam clear. And indeed, Demic is. He has always been this highlight player for Scarz that we're looking out for. And while Guts are looking at the Jackal ping, seeing that the players are defaulted downstairs, perhaps Demic on this roam can catch out someone. And that would be hugely impactful for Scarz.
Very nearly not able to get that drone there, and that means plenty of time has been taken for Guts to know where he is. Crazy Papillon holding the angle here into Piano. He's going to want to get in there to open up the floor and be able to hold those vertical angles in, but he knows that player's there. He's going to be able to gun him down. Demic off the board, and that means Crazy Papillon has the room to do what he needs to.
Very good start there for Guts, but time's ticking away in 11, tracking these players through the floor. He may try to go for a C4. No, he's actually gone all the way back to lockers, takes out another drone, looking at the economy of drones from the Guts side. Lights lost both of his, Lily's only lost one. So we've got a lot of these support players like JJ still with plenty of drones to drone out the bomb site. And that tells me Guts have a lot of utility for info gathering to clear out the remaining players on site. And with that man advantage, things look pretty swell for the attackers. They just need to get a move on and make sure they can continue making progress in the next 60 seconds.
Really important flank watch being done here, both by the Zephyr and the Jackal holding on to those stairways. There's going to be the bathroom hatch that's opened, and now Guts Gaming have a significant amount of vertical control. With less than a minute remaining, they're going to have to start clearing out these players below. The Shield and the Maestro have been stunned. Canos does get the shot there onto Yura, so that's the Jackal taken off and that yellow stairs control gone, and Light's going to be able to turn things around onto Canos.
Now with 30 seconds left, Guts in the man advantage, but time's ticking away. JJ to drone out start. I still think that the attackers are in a good position, but they need to get a move on here. They haven't dismantled this utility, and Scarz are making yet another flank. It's 11. He could be hugely impactful here. Guts, they're the ones who have to make this work, and most of the Scarz players are on the flank. That's one, and then traded out. Yas trying to move in now. No plant going down yet for Guts, and the flank once again! Huge from Yas. One player left for Guts. No chance in the 1v1 to find that final kill or plant the diffuser. And on that re-roam, Scarz managed to claw back a victory in what looked like a round for Guts Gaming.
A really great round there for Yas, given that when we look back to the first Playday in that fated game against Xavier on Clubhouse, Yas really proved that he was a great player on attack, but really struggled on defense because he was reluctant to move forward. Well, what we saw there was not a reluctance to move forward. That was him taking the initiative to go on that flank. And it just is a testament to the fact that Guts Gaming were very specifically trying to hold on to those stairwells and prevent a flank from coming out. Maybe they expected Scarz to do something like that, and once the Jackal went down, that control of Yellow Stairs was relinquished, they had the opportunity to make it work for them. Great round there for Scarz, and as you say, when it looked so strongly like Guts did have that win, they were able to turn things around. Now coming up to the top floor, Revy coming back on the clash, and I very specifically remember on this site going against Fnatic, this is where we started to see the greatness shine.
And that's what we'll be definitely looking at. Guts in this round, can they deal with the clash? Particularly where Revy is aggressively trying to hold that yellow stairs presence, trying to ping out players on the windows. And it's a lot of good information gathering in particular that can enable the other Scarz players to find kills and really prevent Guts from doing what we've seen a lot of Japanese teams do, which is get very aggressive very quickly. If you try and sprint in multiple players to overwhelm the defense, the clash is there, ever present, gathering that info and slowing your players down. So definitely looking at Guts this round to see how they can deal with that.
What's very interesting to me is the fact that Guts haven't chosen to bring a Capital, even though Wamai isn't banned. What we saw when Fnatic came against them on this kind of composition was they did bring the Capital. Now, they got caught out in a number of positional errors, and that's what prevented Fnatic from being able to capitalize against the clash. But it could have been an open opportunity there for Guts if they want to flush her out quickly.
Just some final late rotation holes made by Scarz, and looks like they're keeping their options open. Presence both on the admin side and at yellow stairs. It's actually Revy playing yellow. Yas on the roam below. Now, still with an impact grenade remaining, you could use that in the late round to run out the garage wall by destroying it and going for a run out. Ooh, he actually spots out a drone there in Piano. You could even use the impact to open the floor underneath that default plan spot, but I think Guts are aware of that position. Goes back downstairs, so he still has that option to go for the run out and try and kill the players on the CEO rappel. Primarily, that's Yura trying to get information on this bomb site.
He did, of course, have to move away because of those sound cues after he took that shot. He's going to be safely away now. Lily looking like he's getting one of those breach charges prepared, but beginning to descend from the rappel as he drones in. 11 once again is here on the pulse. He'll be able to look down below him to actually see that. This could facilitate a run out if that's what Scarz do decide to do, as many of these attacking players are still present outside the building.
And Guts have somewhat decided to change tack here, and they're going for an admin side push, but the Pulse is the perfect operator here. All but punished. A trade comes out. Nice shot there from both 11 and Yura, and that leaves us at a numbers equality. Still Scarz looking for a run out. There's no one repelling on connector window, however, so a bit of a lack of information from Scarz, and it looks like Crazy Papillon's getting into a position to punish. He does just that. Goodbye there, Yas, the player to step it up for Scarz on the previous round. Now, Guts, we're looking at them. What is the push? A repel in through admin, but Demic to punish JJ. That's the diffuser down. Guts has to rotate, and Canos now to go and take that position inside of admin to make sure Guts can't get this diffuser back with ease.
At least before the Hibana went down, the Scarz had been put on the service stairs wall, so there is that line of sight going straight in. If Lily can jump into admin here, he might be able to use that to his advantage. But there's just over 20 seconds remaining, and the diffuser, as you say, has been dropped. Still, meeting control is being held, and by the clash no less, which is going to make it even harder for the attackers.
Canos in the perfect position to punish. There is no chance. Guts are getting this diffuser back, and oh, there's a nice shot though from Lily. Still, diffuser, absolutely no time to get back. They have to go for kills. That's not going to happen when it's a clash on the other side of the barrel. And Scarz, despite our expectation, 2 back-to-back defensive wins.
We were saying at the start how there's this story, how Guts have been this Japanese underdog who have proved that they're really made of their weight's worth in gold, and Scarz have really been struggling, and so far Scarz are looking significantly prepared for what it is the Guts are bringing. Part of me wonders if maybe Guts took a little bit of a confidence knock after their game against Fav, where Fav really beat it into them. It was a 7-1, if I remember correctly, not the kind of scoreline that we expected to see be done against this team. Oh, sorry, it was a 7-4, not a 7-1. Even so, they had a hard time. Now, obviously, being a team at this caliber, you would expect the support staff to have helped out and things be made a little bit better, and you come into the next game feeling prepared. But you have to remember that that was probably a scoreline they weren't expecting. And as soon as they start to lose some potential momentum to Scarz, not that they even had the opportunity to build it up in the first place, really, that could also add on to that.
10 seconds left.
Definitely the onus is on Guts Gaming. I mean, we were talking about this before the match started, Gio. We were saying, are you ready for a blowout? And I mean, no disrespect for Scarz, but that's, I think, a fair thing to expect coming into this game. Guts found second place on the standings after the first phase of the Swiss system. They looked to be the only team to hold a candle to Giants, I guess you could even say. And they looked like they'd made huge strides since their 4th placing in the Pro League Season 11 within Japan. Scarz, it was kind of the reverse story. They had a great showing in Pro League, managed to win it in Korea, but did not have a good start here. Actually reverse swept in their very first game against the least rated team in the league. Oof, early shots there. Demic almost gets punished, but I think the point still stands here that Scarz are overperforming. We're definitely looking at Guts to step it up take the fight back to him.
Demick just trying to hold off some of those attacking players from coming in through the main lobby, but he's going to be taken out from behind from that spiral rappel. Yura securing that shot, losing the Maestro early on. It's not that great because he's your key anchor you want to be relying on. So many of the other players here on Scarz are going to be found elsewhere. Revy really being the only one taking on that anchoring role as he sits there in the bathroom, and he's already lost some of his HP.
Having a look. There's a lot of good utility and setup from Scarz here to deny that plant despite that numbers disadvantage. Players below. Plant denial prepared. No doubt Yas has a C4 as well. And if the plant attempts to come down into Piano, that can be denied from down in Garage. We noticed Scarz reinforced that off, so it's safer to play in there. At the moment, Guts are just focusing primarily on the... Oh, thank you there, medics. Crazy Papillon, though, finds Revy. That's a huge amount of plant denial gone with the smoke out of the equation. That's 30 seconds that potentially could have been wasted, and essentially, Guts have just bought themselves an extra 30 seconds back in this round 5v3, and it looks like Guts might be able to take their first attack round.
Well, they're planning the diffuser. There we go, right in the door. And the C4's got to be able to get two C4s coming out there from Scarz. So they do deny the plant. Yura's holding onto the diffuser there, but they have to move in and do something about it if they want to be able to take this round.
Wow.
But with Yara securing that other shot there onto Yura and everything onto Light, it doesn't look like this is going to work out in the favor of Guts Gaming, and it's not. Scarz take the third round, and this one looked the closest.
What a bite back there from Scarz. We thought in that 3 versus 5, there was no chance they were making it happen. I said Guts had bought themselves an extra 30 seconds. And, well, we did keep in mind the 2 C4s that Scarz still had on the table. And I don't know where that first one came from Yas, but the second one from 11 tossed up through what I like to call the elevator hatch, right onto that default plant spot. That killed not only the plant coverer, but also the planter. From then on in, it was a 3v3. Kills continued to come out from Scarz. Guts were in a state of absolute panic, and they couldn't claw things back. Now, it's a full rotation of bomb sites for Scarz, and I've got to say, this is not looking like the team that we have seen playing for the last 4.5 weeks.
No, and it almost makes you think, come on, why didn't you bring this out earlier on? This is the kind of team that we want to be seeing. Obviously, it's regardless of how well this goes, it's not necessarily going to be enough to pull them all the way up the standings, but it does set a good precedent for what could come in the next stage, as obviously this is the final play day of this first stage. Sob. But they're going to be returning back down here to the basement, where we were taken by surprise on that first round. They had a pretty good defense, running something very similar, except I believe it was Yas who was present on the Maestro the first time round, and we saw that flank be made by him. It looks like this time Scarz have deliberately prepared their roster, their operator composition, to be able to do those flanks and force Guts Gaming to have no choice in doing the flank holds that were taken down so swiftly by Scarz last time.
And I think that's a great idea here from Scarz, a great read. The first round that came through, Guts had the numbers advantage, and it was Scarz on that double flank in the late round that really stole things away from them. And ever since that round, Scarz have leaned even further into the information denial utility they're bringing to the table. They had a Vigil, now Mozzie 2 times in a row. As you said, moving Demick onto the Maestro instead of the Legion. And that tells us Scarz, instead of favoring that rush denial with the Legion or entry denial or slowing down those aggressive plays, they're leaning into information denial, which is going to enable more flanks. I really like this adaptation from Scarz. They're just furthering the playstyle that has been working for them thus far. But can Guts establish the man advantage early once again? Ooh, C4, surely that misses. Indeed. And, well, can this roam be cleared out by Guts? And can they continue to move forward? And then, most critically, watch their flanks.
Crazy Papillon here holding onto this angle. It's going to make it hard for him to get into somewhere like Piano to open up the floor in time, but Guts do secure 2 kills, and as they're opening there, as those roamers on the side of Scarz are taken down. Lily is somewhat hurt, but he should have more space to move on through, as Guts don't have to worry so much about that presence around the map from Scarz. Obviously, the intel is still being passed on through there by 11 on the pulse, but there are only so many members remaining of Scarz to be able to capitalize on it.
This is surely where Guts start to read into this aggression. Indeed, a double flank once again attempts to come through, but JJ very patient on that rappel, covers it. 2 players punished on the yellow stairs. All in 11, 1v5 with 60 seconds still on the round. Guts surely cannot lose this round. An aggressive play is what's necessary, but, well, Guts reading into that perfectly. And finally, after a drought, 3 rounds lost in a row, Guts finally find one, and it is flawless at that.
The patience exhibited by Guts in that round really paid dividends for them. And I think being able to remove that very key part of Scarz' strategy in the form of the roamers early was huge, because what then happened was Scarz got a little bit restless. They got a little bit too keen to move forward. They wanted to do the flanks themselves. They wanted to repeat what they had done in the first round. But at that point, Guts were prepared for what that may be. They held on to those angles that they required to. For example, JJ sitting outside of yellow stairs, where he just had a straight line of sight into any of those players who may rotate down there or flank around. And that's exactly what happened. He got that 2K. And then even at the end, where we saw 11 trying to chase on up there, Guts were prepared. Scarz gonna have to change things up here. Coming back up to the top floor, they've decided to once again bring the clash.
Yeah, and it does make me wonder. In the previous time Guts attacked this bomb site, they saw the clash, presumably, because they were initially set up for a CEO and yellow take, which is very much favored in the meta at the moment globally. And once they saw that clash, there was a bit of a moment of hesitation, and then eventually we saw Guts trying to enter through admin, which was ultimately their demise, because JJ was caught off guard, Diffuser caught down in admin office, Canos went and hard held it, and at that point there was really no hope of Guts getting back into it. So for Guts, I'm thinking, look, either from the get-go, go for an admin take, or from the get-go, be prepared to deal with this clash, counter it. Now, they haven't brought any different operators to the table compared to last time, aside from the fact they've kept the Thermite in instead of the Hibana, just on the off chance that Scarz go back downstairs again. But Guts still have those concussions from Zafir, so they could deal with that clash if they go for a CEO take. That's what I'm hoping they do here, but it looks like perhaps it's an admin-favored take. I guess we'll see as the round progresses.
I think one of the interesting things here is the fact they've given the diffuser this time to Light instead of to JJ, and I'm wondering if maybe that's because they're thinking, if our hard breach gets taken down in admin once again, we don't want the diffuser to be landed straight in the middle where it's impossible for us to retrieve it. So whether or not that does become part of the plan, we have to wait and see. Now we can see Canos here downstairs with Yas just above to try and hold back this take, as they're expecting Guts Gaming to repeat what happened before. And Yura on the, well, it's not really rappel, is it, if he's just outside the window, but just outside the window trying to make sure that that roamer couldn't get out of Tellers, but it's actually going to be JJ going down first again. So there we go. It's a good job that he wasn't holding the diffuser, otherwise, once again, that would be lost to the ether.
I do like the setup from Scarz, very much aware of this admin take, and even though Guts are fighting back, they have multiple players on the rappel, multiple players watching various windows and angles. They're struggling to clear these roamers. And now the clash has come to assist. This is the problem we were trying to avoid by going for an admin take. Now the headache has resumed. This migraine ever-present. Crazy Papillon sees the clash and says, well, not much I can do about that one, hey? Now trying to find another angle to contest, but the C4 comes out. I believe that was Yas's, or potentially even 11's below. It was Yas's. There you go. And still Scarz have this admin control. GG are just really struggling to clear this out.
Well, that's going to be Yas going down as Crazy Papillon does land that shot, and finally they might be able to enter into the room. If Light can move forward, he does still have all of the ammo in his lifeline remaining, which he could use against the clash. He wasn't at a position beforehand where he would have been able to see her there in copy, and so none of that has been used thus far. But as they move forward, they've got to be aware. Oh, the C4 just narrowly missing there as those players from Guts begin to move forward.
That means 11 does not have his C4 for plant denial, but Guts need to get a move on. 30 seconds left. Good presence here from Light on the balcony. Billy to support. This is a perfect angle to be held, and can he spot the player indeed? Good night, 11. And now we're really looking at Revy to hold on as much as possible. The smokes come out for the execute, but too much time wasted and they're gone. A great shot from Canos. Light trying to get this diffuser down, but taking some shots. Can't get into a safe position. We really need Lily to cover, and she does. He does, rather. 2 kills in the cusp of it, and Guts Gaming, it may have been a blitz late into the round, but it did work. just by the skin of their teeth.
I've got to give them credit. As you say, they made it work. They used that aggression to push on through, but it was very, very close. And I suspect that even though they're happy to have put another round on the board, they are probably not all that thrilled with the method by which it occurred. Because as you say, they did it by the skin of their teeth. You can't rely on rounds to finish out like that when you know you need to be so much more thorough and assertive. Back downstairs is going to be where Scarz take this, deciding they didn't want to go for the lobby again. And to be fair, on the lobby push that happened before, Guts did attempt to make a plant, and it did get very close. So they're probably going to be feeling a lot more confident with the basement defense, given that it's the one they've done the most decisively both times now.
Just kind of funny, actually, because if we look at Scarz' stats from across the season, Cafeteria Garage is actually the bomb site that they have the worst record on. They've played it 8 times and only won it twice. So I am a little bit concerned here for Scarz, especially because the time that they won this, it was based on those flanks. And then the second time around that Scarz defended this, Guts were really, really patient, as you highlighted, and really aware of those flanks, denied them perfectly, and it was a flawless round for Guts. So despite getting off to a rough start here for Guts, they lost the first 3 attacks. I think that they definitely have what it takes here to come back, win 3 of their own, even things up at the half, and be going into their own defenses with an equilibrium in the round count, which would be perfect. That said, you're taking a lot of damage from the spawn peak. Canos does not want to let up here. It's a lot of damage, as they say, but you're still alive, and that's what matters.
Notice the changes too the Scarz have made here. They've moved 11 off of the Pulse and put Demic there instead, and they've added 11 onto the Vigil. That means that extra roam power is present here. Revy's been put on the Maestro, which is interesting, as he's the one who is their coach and their stand-in, not necessarily known for his gun skill. That's why we see him on the shields quite a bit. And if they do lose that Maestro, that could mean that they significantly weaken the presence here on site and have the opportunity to rush in. They have already got the garage door open, and that's going to be the second panel done there, and they can actually start to send in their drones. Evil Eye being used here to try and deter any of those coming through, and that's going to be 2 of them swiftly deleted.
I think what you highlighted there is so critical here. If Guts drone out the site and they figure out that the presence is much weaker, there's no smoke from Revy as he played last time, Scarz are really trying to lean into this roam clear. Oh, that's a nice shot through the little pixel hole, and Light finds the first pick of the round. Furthermore, this bomb site is getting weakened and the presence from Scarz is reduced. Guts have an opportunity here to take it straight away from Scarz, and I think that might work if they go for it.
Once again, we're seeing patience be exhibited here by Guts Gaming. They do send in the flashes and the lifelines. And they're just spending time. You can actually see Yura outside. He's watching out for potential runouts as well as getting prepared to go in through the first floor. But there's the entrance there from Guts Gaming, and Crazy Papillon gets gunned down.
4 versus 3 for Guts Gaming with 1 minute remaining. So much time. They don't have to get antsy here, but Scarz, on the other hand, do. There's a good kill from the lobby run out, but Scarz now, with only their roamers remaining, Guts have adapted perfectly to this strategy. They moved straight on through to plant in a safer position, not exposed to the holes above, and now Guts just need to cover. There's surely no way Scarz can make this happen. 11 goes down and out. Now all on Yas. He's been a huge player for Scarz thus far, especially tonight here on Consulate. But to find 3 players here, a C4 finds nothing, but at least he clears that angle. And Light, a huge round from the Zephyr to close it out. And Guts equal 3 rounds apiece in their attacking half.
And I think this is where we might be seeing one of those issues with Scarz. They can play pretty good rounds, and you can be impressed by some of the things they do. But as soon as the opposing team starts to catch wind of that and make the adaptations, Scarz didn't foresee that that would be done. For the 3rd time in a row, they decided to use essentially the same strategy to defend that bomb site. Go for the roam, play off-site, catch people out, force them to flank watch. Except on that last round, Guts didn't buy into it. They played their own game. They decided to have a different approach. All of us based outside the garage, we're going to open it up. We're going to rush on straight through. We're going to waste the time of those roamers who are elsewhere off site and actually are kind of not really doing anything because none of us are elsewhere. And it worked out in their favor. And that's something that I think is really key between teams that you find at the top of a leaderboard and teams that you find at the bottom of a leaderboard, is the speed at which you can adapt, what you can read into from the opposing team, and how you go against that. Scarz may have proven that they have some good strategies at the start, but if they can't adapt and change them fast enough to sort of outbeat what the enemy team are going to do to adapt to them, you're going to get caught in a rut.
And that's it down to a T. Guts Gaming lost 3 rounds in a row, and then they come back, make the adaptations needed, completely read Scarz' playstyle and find 3 of their own. Now Scarz have to jump on the attacking side. Fairly difficult here if you're coming up against the stack of utility on the bomb site and off the bomb site. Looking at what Guts has set up, they have the smoke and the mirror. I know I made a pun about smoke and mirrors previously, so yeah, cheers, Jeff. Good side presence, though. That's what this utility is. It's very difficult for the attackers to rush the breach, as Guts did on that previous round, when there's so much util from the defenders to meet it. And on top of that, you've got roamers in the face of Crazy Papillon. You also had Light upstairs, and info denial from both of those operators means it's very difficult for Scarz to do this roam clear, even though they have that Jackal. So Guts, good presence offsite, good presence onsite. What more could you ask for?
Yeah, it's actually a very similar operator lineup to what we saw Guts run, except obviously they've decided to bring the Thatcher, which means they can get rid of that util. That's gonna have to be a drop there from Light as the drones find him, but it's gonna be Revy who finds him on the descent. Good start there from Scarz as they get rid of that key roamer, as you mentioned, playing off site. This could mean that Demic has the opportunity to move in, as he is just sat there outside, and it's actually gonna be 11 who does so. Just checking his drone before he moves down.
Yeah, really good work there from Scarz, and I'm quite impressed by that. Really effective roam clear, good time management. Of course, Crazy Papillon is still present in public bathroom. Euro actually wants to go for a re-roam. Surely this won't work. I think there was a drone on him. I think he just took it out by the looks of it. And looking at the drone game for Scarz, Canos lost 1, Yasus lost 2, Demix lost 1. Getting a little bit low, especially as it's really important for the attackers to have drones in the late round to clear sight. But Crazy Papillon wants to drop. He's not going to get the chance. And Yas, no drones left, but he's still got that rifle and he makes good use of it.
I knew exactly where that player was, and now he can look straight down into the hatch to potentially catch any of those defenders downstairs. His Euro, once again, he has dropped down, but he's going to be edging his way up Spiral just to see if he can catch any of those members of Scarz off. So far, it hasn't worked for any of them, as all 5 men are standing and less than a minute to go. Garage door is going to be opened, garage wall, I suppose I should say, and with these players off-site here for Guts, they may have to start moving back and rotating to the site if Scarz are going to make their way in.
But still, critically, we have the mirror. We have the gas canisters from smoke, and that can deny the plant into the late round. How many does Lily have left? That's the first one thrown out, and now still 2 gas canisters remaining. You can see that Euro wants to make a flank here, but Canos is watching it. The plant's going down in the cover of smoke in an unusual position, and there's no info for Guts. That's a successful plant. Perfect stuff from Scarz, and now just 2 players left to try to retake against 5 from Scarz. This has been a perfect round thus far from Scarz. Yura and Lily have to come up huge. That's a nice first shot from Yura to cover. And now in a 2 versus 4. Wait a second, 2 versus 3. Yura hits 2 nutty shots, but it's so difficult to defuse out here. He spots the feet, does a bit of damage, but he gets punished by the end of it. All on Lily. No chance, no hope of making this work. Every kill here is a consolation frag. This wants to pad the stats as much as possible, but Scarz is not going to let this round be stolen from them. And Scarz, an excellent attack. Roam clear down to perfection, and the execute onto site down to planting in an unusual spot. There was absolutely no response from Guts.
Scarz didn't get too overzealous when they did that roam clear. They knew, of course, that there was the mute present in the bathroom. They didn't spend too much time in and around Piano, getting in the way and risking their lives. Took advantage of the hole that was opened up in the wall by Crazy Papillon and got that shot straight on through. after that, they knew that the roam had been cleared, as you say, and that gave them a lot more control over how it was they decided to move on into the site. I think it was a mistake from Guts to be sending Euro around a second or even nearly a third time on the roam, because Scarz was so very bunched up around yellow stairs. Even if he had found one of those players and been able to catch them out, he almost certainly would have been refragged. It then meant that he was off the site, so as Scarz started to move in, there was less information as to their whereabouts. And there was less of a threat as they began to make the plan. And suddenly Guts Gaming really were kind of running around like headless chickens. We saw JJ step out of his position to try and get the shot in through the smoke. But as you say, the plant went down in an obscure position. So he was really going in with no information, didn't exactly know what to do. And all in all, it worked out for Scarz. And that's something that Guts Gaming will probably want to review, because I think a combination, the amalgamation of those the amalgamation of those decisions that they made just led to a failure from them.
I really want to know what happened to the Scarz that we've been watching for the rest of this league, because they are looking completely revitalized. They perfectly countered everything that Guts brought to the table. Because there was no Maestro, there was no utility to see through the smoke. I mean, Scarz could just plant in the non-default position through the smoke. I mean, that was perfect. And once again, I'm just surprised we didn't see this Scarz in the past. They looked like a much more disorganized team, a much less proficient team overall in previous games. And now they've stepped it up here, had a really good start to their defenses, and now a really good start to their attacks as well. And they've got the control that Guts really struggled to get on this attack, which was admin already. No presence whatsoever from Guts. Now, keep in mind, this is a lobby defense, not a top floor defense, so it's not like Scarz are that much closer to the bomb site, but they're making really good progress consistently. Next step is to clear up Crazy Papillon, and the drone to come through is going to spot him out.
So they're going to know exactly where he is, and we'll be able to move up. You've also got to bear in mind, Yura is positioned over by the yellow stairs as well, so there is that presence on the top floor from him, and he's actually holding this angle all the way down the hallway just to make sure no one from Scarz crosses his path. So it is still a little bit of a challenge for them to move in. C4 goes out from Crazy Papillon, but there's no one out on the balcony. So that gets wasted. 11's a little bit of a way away for that one to have worked, and all they have to do now is rotate around, and it looks like they're going to be attacking the yellow stairs from elsewhere.
Yura shuts down another drone, still undislodged, and it looks like Scarz has completely changed their attack here, using a smoke to enable the thermite to place an exothermic onto the public bathroom. Lily is going to be met with a very unusual kind of attack here, but very much expecting it, and still with gas canisters. One throws out, and now he is safe for at least a little bit longer. Scarz trying to push forward. Still don't have full top floor control. They tried to bypass that top floor control, at least somewhat, and just dislodge the player in public, but it didn't quite work. 45 seconds, still a 5v5.
That was absolutely huge, forcing Lily to have to use the smoke canister to save himself, which means it's not going to be available later for the late round. Crazy Papillon not quite going to be able to get that as the pinch comes in, but Light does bring Yas down. That's the Jackal gone. But the pressure is going to be felt here. 11 going to be falling there as Crazy Papillon secures this kill. That means he can focus here on the doorway, but there are shots coming through from below.
And the gas as well to deny that plant. Guts are in such a strong position. Canos has to go huge here and take out these players on the top floor, but his position is exposed. And the peek comes out from Crazy just before the flashbang goes off. All on Revy and Demic, but they are shut down. And Guts Gaming, a very nice retort there on the lobby defense to get aggressive and take the round from underneath of Scarz's feet.
It looked like Scarz were looking fairly coordinated, especially as they decided to change where the push was coming in from based on where they knew the positioning of the defenders were. But obviously, it changed things up enough that Guts knew what to expect. They knew that if they went aggressive, they'd be able to hold things out. Now, I think if the pinch onto Crazy Papillon had worked, we would maybe be saying a different story here. But because Scarz weren't able to gain that control, which they were in a position to do so, obviously that worked very much against their favor. They had to try and make the plan, but it was into those smokes because the smoke hadn't been cleared out from the bathroom, despite the fact they'd opened the wall. And all in all, worked out well there for Guts. So not so great there from Scarz. You did say how we've been seeing a slightly different team with them. but they're gonna have to make these pushes consistent if our hopes are to be held too high.
I think it was very much like you said, that top floor clear, lack of top floor clear from Scarz. But you know, as you said, maybe if a couple kills went the other way, if Scarz had won those peaks, we'd be telling a different story right now. But for Guts, they do go downstairs. As you recall, this was unsuccessful on their previous attack, or defense rather, of this bomb site. In particular, leveraging the smokes from Yas, Scarz was able to get a plant down in an unusual position, and Guts weren't quite aware of that. Now, they don't have any utility to see through smokes, no bulletproof cameras, still relying on these mirror windows for information, but the one operator that has changed here is the Ella instead of the Mozzie in the past. Now, not too well-known fact, but Ella actually can deny plant with her Grizmods. The concussion effect actually denies the animation of the plant going down, just in the same way that we see Zafir used to deny the disable or to deny bandit trick. So we may see that try to be utilized from live, but that's a fairly unusual use case, and I expect maybe it'll just be to hold bathroom instead a little bit heavier than Guts could last time.
That was a fun fact, James. Thank you for sharing that. I mean,
you're welcome.
Thanks. Obviously, she does bring along the deployable shield as well, which in this current meta where you want to be getting rid of all that utility, it's pretty useful. And given that those roams haven't been all that effective so far, it makes sense that maybe they'd want to go for a slightly more anchor-centric defense, where it takes a lot more for the attackers to clear out the actual site, and they can't make a rush. And they also have more eyes on the scene, just in case anything unusual happens, like we saw back in round 7. Could work out pretty well there for Guts Gaming if they can make that work. Canis is just making sure everything's safe there on the first floor. They want to be able to open up the floor above, especially as there is this more anchor-centric defense. You want to be applying that pressure that way. And that's exactly what's going to be happening there as he gets that first kill onto Crazy Papillon.
Not too different from the previous round thus far from Scarz, but the critical thing is they didn't kill Light this time around, who previously was roaming on the top floor. Instead, they've just got this public control and found the kill with it. But I'm pretty sure that Light actually does intend to use the Grizmods to deny the plant, because last I saw, he was sitting in security behind the mirror window with all 3 still in pocket. Indeed, look at those ice cream cones still in the pocket to deny plant. And this does, I mean, I would love to see this work from Guts, but Scarz, I mean, we're looking at them right now. They have the numbers advantage, not quite as significant as they did last time around, and they are preparing for this execute.
Now we just got to see if it's going to work out for them. Once again, as you mentioned before, there isn't a maestro. So that means if something like the smoke plant did try to go down, you don't have those cameras that can see through it to tell you where the plant is being made. The difference here is that it's a lot harder for them to run in. You do have presence there on the yellow stairs to try and keep them safe, and that's going to be Revy going in at a very different position to try and make that plant. So far, looks like it's working, and that's exactly what it is. Once again, Guts Gaming find themselves in the same position, and then just start to see themselves get shot down.
Once again, a post plant on Garage, the most unenviable position to be in as a defender. Euro wants to flank up Spiral, but Scarz have such a significant numbers advantage in this 4 versus 2. Surely there is no way they can lose this one. Another player punished out. JJ can find one, find another, but 2 more players to go, and they'll be no doubt playing either above or outside. And indeed, it is Yas at the car to shut down JJ. And once again, Scarz managed to force down a plant within the smoke, and Guts really need to be thinking hard about how they lost that one.
Guts didn't even look like they reacted all that much once Revy started putting the diffuser down. There wasn't that much movement coming out from the players who were present in security and kitchen. JJ did, or was it JJ on the mirror? Yeah, JJ did move out the way to try and see if he could get a better view, or not view I suppose, but an angle onto where there could be someone planting, but of course Revy was planting in a different position to what happened, to where he was last time. So they still didn't know. They were none the wiser. Meanwhile, the other 2 were just kind of standing there like lemmings thinking, well, what do we do now? And it is frustrating because you know that such a key way of dealing with it would have been to have something like the Evil Eyes or the Bulletproof that could see through that. Or, you know, even a warden if you want to go that far. But the point is, you needed to be able to see through the smoke, and they should have been able to foresee that, and they did not.
Yeah, for me, it was really the fact that they brought the Ella. I've got to assume it was for that fight style. Why else would you have Ella with 3 Grismots in the pocket, playing on the security mirror? I didn't manage to see whether any of them were thrown out, but I'm fairly certain I didn't see any of them detonate. And part of that is due to Scarz. They planted in an unusual spot. I like to call that zebra because it's between the black car and the white van. Did I get it? Like black.
Oh my
white,
god!
zebra. I know it's great. And once again, Scarz just kind of subverted what Guts were expecting, and yeah, great stuff from them. They're actually only 1 round away from match point, which is definitely an upset to this game that, once again, we were saying is probably going to be a blowout for Guts. So huge commendations to Scarz right now, and once again, they're going for this admin side push, albeit this is for a top floor defense this time, which we haven't yet seen from Guts on this map thus far. So they're whipping out the strat book and saying, look, guys, I don't think it's working on Garage. We can't go back to lobby just yet, so let's try top floor and see if we can make it work.
Look, what intrigues me about this is this positioning here of the dock. They haven't got the rotate open, and that means you don't have what you usually see, which is the Jaeger at the top of yellow stairs and the dock ready right behind to heal them back up, and that rotate between the bathroom and yellow. Now, they're maybe preparing for this admin side push, and that's why they didn't bother doing that, because one of the first things I was going to say is, oh, look at this. They brought these operators that suggest they're preparing for a yellow push, but instead, they're not actually set up for something like that. Instead, Lily is right here in front desk, just ready to see if anything can come up yellow stairs, while Yura's sat there right beside the wall with the cardiac sensor. So they're very much prepared for attackers to come that way, but it just looks like they're not.
Yeah, Scarz still making up their mind, and at the moment pushing up from the Visa stairs is Canos. And still repelling on the admin side is most of Scarz. They've got to deal with any players roaming below for C4s, and that's not just now an admin, but also down if they decide to plant in meeting, as would be meta for this push. In particular, Pulse, Yura downstairs could wreak havoc in the late round. They've drawn him out, they know he exists, and they'll just have to keep him in mind in the late round. And yes, he still has that C4, but he is the only player from Guts with a C4, and it looks like Scarz actually might be rotating it now. I don't know, it's tough to tell. I think that they're still going for this meeting plan because Revi with the diffuser is now in a position to repel on the meeting balcony. 11 there to support. Yura still downstairs, making sure that no pre-placed drones are being set up here in lobby. And this is the X factor here that Scarz is going to have to keep in mind in the late round.
Just getting ready to move on in. There's JJ present here in meeting. He's ready to throw out the smoke, and that's going to force 11 to move on down as he takes a significant amount of damage actually from that. Second smoke being thrown down the stairs as he begins to rotate out. But that's really a big deterrent there for Scarz, and with just 20 seconds remaining, they need to find their way to push in.
Surely there is no hope of Scarz making this work in the final seconds. It's gonna have to get desperate. Scarz just ready to push in, but they do find that kill there on Lily on the flank watch, but it might not be enough. Surely the plan has to go down, but the gas denies that, and there, the rifle to follow up. What is this madness? There is no chance Scarz are getting that diffuser down. That's what happens when there's 20 seconds left in a 5v5. The absolute dog's breakfast just comes to fruition, and Guts somehow win it on time.
That was weird. Yeah, not only was it left really late, and it was the 5v5, as you say, we also saw a team kill come out from the side of Scarz, which is certainly not going to be conducive to being able to get a successful plant. Once again, trying out with the smoke plant, but this time there was a Maestro, so they can't rely on the lack of information there from Guts. And at that point, of course, because it's a 5v5, you haven't cleared anything out. All they have to do is move in on you, and they had the vertical presence too. You had the Pulse still playing down below. He could have C4'd for the denial, and Yura as well. There were holes in the floor through which they could have shot. Just everything was right there and ready to deny the plant from Scarz. And when you throw in the team kill as well, you're denying your own plant. It's not helpful. So, not great there. Next time they come to that site, I think Scarz is going to have to be a little bit more decisive about what push they want to make. If you're going to go in from an admin side, you need to stick to an admin side. If you're going to go in from a yellow side, you need to stick to a yellow side, because you need to ensure you're getting the clear done in the time you have, when you know that so much of the late round is going to be spent or the late round is going to come quite late because you've had to get rid of utility and because you've had to do this clear. You can't assume that you have loads of time remaining because it just doesn't work that way.
That said, at least for Scarz, they won't be attacking that bomb site again, at least not until overtime if we get there, because it's going to be locked for Guts for the next 2 rounds. But that means that Lobby is back and unlocked again. It's the first round that Guts won on their defense, primarily because Scarz, funnily enough, couldn't clear out the exact same ground that they failed to clear out efficiently in the previous round, and that is primarily where Crazy Papillon is playing right now in meeting. Such a pivotal position for roamers upstairs right now for Guts, actually. Now, all of them have a way to impact onto the site, particularly through those holes or late rotates down hatches, etc. But does make you wonder, perhaps Scarz could go for something a bit early, a bit aggressive onto the bomb site, because if they're trying to focus in a 5v4 onto this top floor, I mean, the numbers aren't in their favor, and utility is not in their favor really either. There's so much util up here, so it's a lot of work to be done here for Scarz to get their advantage and take this control away from the defenders.
I think one of the small but potentially meaningful things the Scarz haven't done is be able to open up that table when they're trying to get control here of meeting. And there we go. It's actually going to be done this time round. But what you see a lot of the time is Ash go down below and do it from there, which they haven't been able to do because of the presence downstairs, or at least on the CEO and meeting site. Obviously, this is downstairs, so you can't just wander into sight. But Crazy Papillon can wander straight into Canis's line of sight. That does mean that meeting is now empty. Great, they've managed to achieve the thing that they failed to do so far. Now, they have to be aware, of course, that Light is holding this angle here, and yeah.
Perfect description there, Gio. Yeah, nice shot there from Light, and through the bullet holes, it's very difficult to contest that. Yas was counting as lucky stars. He was revived, but yeah, not for too much longer. Now, Scarz, still, while they have cleared meeting, they haven't cleared the top floor, which means they can't really utilize the meeting control, and they have to be hyper aware that Era and Light in the late round aren't going to go back into meeting to use those holes as an I-plant. And that's only the first thing you've got to be worried about. There's also holes roaming downstairs. Euro finds another one. He was hanging around yellow. Demic goes down. Scarz trying to brute force this top floor, but Light there holding the angle. They're not too aware of each other, finally getting to that gunfight, but shots traded either way, none to secure the kill. 35 seconds left. Euro gets aggressive and trying to support the player upstairs, trying to fight that guy in meeting, but Light finally falls. Canos won't quite know about it, though. No points here in competition. 25 seconds left on the clock. Scarz not looking like they're in a position to get this plant down, and Guts still have that ace up their sleeve. Yura in that aggressive position in lobby can swing out and deny the planter, even if this gas doesn't do the work. Canos looking forward. He'll finally secure the kill onto that downed player, but Yura finds the planter. Yura finds another. Traded out. 1v1. Surely this isn't possible. 11 can't plant. There's info on him, and Guts know all they have to do is wait out the timer. And that is the clutch coming through from JJ, from Guts, the camera clutch. I'm glad that we got that on the observer tool. And Guts spearhead themselves onto match point.
So cinematic at the end there. Yeah, I mean, I think even though obviously we did see the Maestro go down at one point, there wasn't really anyone who could deal with him. The fact that he played how he did and where he did wasted enough time that it meant those players down below couldn't efficiently be dealt with. There was no one really present on the front door who could shoot in through there and try and apply pressure into there because the attacking attention was being spent elsewhere. That meant that you had it was Yura and Lily, I want to say, who were downstairs, present in obviously both lobby and in public bathroom. And so that meant that not only could the front door be watched, but also the hatch could be watched. There was really no way in for Scarz, despite how much, as you say, they had the meeting control. You can't really do all that much if you don't have control of anything else elsewhere. And we spoke very much at the start of the series about how well Scarz were doing, and we would like to see more of this from them, and they're really impressing us. And now it's Guts' match point. Scarz have had that taken away from them. The only hope they have now is overtime.
final round of the second half here, but I'm scared, Gio. I'm scared for Guts. I think this is going to go to overtime, and this is why Scarz are consistently getting the diffuser down here on this bottom floor objective. Both times they've attacked it, they've planted and held it really effectively. There hasn't really been an appropriate response from Guts to deny that plant. It's funnily enough the same problem that Fnatic had when they went up against Scarz. They struggled to deny the plant here on this garage basement, and we kept talking about it. It's primarily because of Yas's smoke grenades. JJ and the rest of Guts don't have any idea where the plant's going down. I thought maybe we'd see the Maestro creep through here, or maybe even a bulletproof cam, but unless if Yura has switched off the barbed wire, which I don't think he has, Guts once again have no utility to look through smoke. And having a look now, indeed, there is no utility from Guts to look through smoke. They're going to be relying once again on the C4 from JJ and Crazy, on the smokes from Lily, and potentially the Grismoch from Light. But Scarz, they've gotten the plant down twice here in 2 different spots. I don't know if the info is going to be there for Guts to deny this plant. I'm really worried for them.
They are going to be coming in through the top floor, as we saw them extensively droning out to ensure that none of those defenders were around. Yura did look like he was going to be going on somewhat of a roam, but I don't know where he actually ended up. Okay, he's actually still downstairs. Didn't decide to commit to going all the way up. That does give Scarz some free space that they can work with, as we once again see them making these rotations around the building so that they can position themselves ready for this take. They've still got plenty of time remaining, and it looks like they have a really solid understanding of where these defensive players are.
Crazy Papillon once again holding the public bathroom. Canos took him out last time, and has now opened up the angle with the breaching round. This is how Crazy has met his demise. 2 rounds defending this position. Now gets out of dodge because that exothermic charge comes through. He gets aggressive. If he could find a kill here, this is huge, but Canos is there to punish once again. Scarz continue their effective roam clears here onto the garage basement. Now they just have to set up for that execute.
And if history is to go by, the execute should be pretty successful. Unless Guts Gaming can pull something out, you would expect this to go in the favor of Scarz. Revy does need to be careful, because if he peeks too much and gets caught out, then that's their planter who's going to be taken down. Light is playing a little bit more aggressively, I think, than before, as he's using those mirror windows to try and get those shots and bring the drones down, but Revy and Demic's drones are still going to remain standing. Yura coming in with the roam. He's going to be moving down yellow stairs. This could be trouble here for 11 if he gets caught out.
This is huge. Revy uses yet another plan spot, but still, we're all relying on Yura for this flank to work. He finds 2 kills. He can deny the plant, but he doesn't know where it goes. Once again, Scarz get that diffuser planted, but this time, Guts has the man advantage. A 4 versus 2 in the post plant is not impossible, but neither is it impossible here for Scarz to hold. They have that advantage of the ground outside, and they have the perfect positions to cover it. Do they have info? They do. And now it's all up to JJ and the rest of Guts to hold on for another 23 seconds, get that diffuser disabled. Scarz have to hold, and I think they might be able to do it. Time is ticking away. Yura finds 1. It's all on Demic. Can he deny the disable? No, he cannot. Guts hold out in the post plan for the first time. Managed to retake the sides, disable that diffuser, and take the victory, edging out over Scarz in a narrow 7-5 match.
That entire time, I was sat here just laughing with incredulity. Not only the fact that Scarz managed to put the diffuser down in yet another place that Guts one more time did not spot out, but then the fact that Guts took it back. If they couldn't successfully deny it, at least they were able to push themselves forward to the point where they could disable it. And I suppose, you know, they had the man advantage on them. It was only so long before they were going to be able to find those remaining members of Scarz. But oh man, watching those garage cafeteria attack/defenses, at least Guts were able to pull it out on that last round where it mattered.
Absolutely terrifying. I thought that it would be the plant denial that would make or break that round for Guts, but they said, to hell with what you reckon, Dev. Yura's going to go huge on the flank. That made the difference, getting that man advantage and holding out in the post plant, even in a 4v2. So challenging, but Guts, a well-earned victory here. Very tough. Let's see what the analysts have to say about it.
Thanks so much, James. Yes, what a close game. We're watching it